Hi everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do part 3 of Let's Create a Journal, and today I want to work on the cover. So I've done some work off camera, and I have decided to use a soft packaging from Amazon. So basically what I did is use the packaging that you get some Amazon products in. That's the craft brown paper type, and I cut it to size. I stitched around it. You can see where the packaging is in the center, and then I painted around mostly the border edging, both inside and outside. And what my plan is now is to put the cover on the top. Now this is printed on canvas paper, and so it's real flexible. And what I did is I printed 2 pages. One is a page that has this house on the front. I think there's another house that's on the other side of it. It's the page that would be on the inside of the journal. And then this is like extra papers that come with the kit. And you get both of these in the kit of the farmhouse cottage from My Porch Prints. So I decided what I wanted on the cover, and then of course I had to cover the spine and the rest of the journal. And I wanted to have a little space here because I want to figure out a closure at some point in time. So what I did is I cut the pages in half. So you would normally get a page like this one. This is a full page. And then I just cut it in half and got the house part. I've stitched it together with this other extra paper. So you can see that. It's kind of hard to see with the light, but there's stitching. And so my plan now is to trim this down to size and then glue this on to the front outside of the cover. So I'm going to make a mark here of where I want to trim it, and I want to have a little extra border because I'm still not sure what I want to do as far as a closure. A popular closure I like to use is using eyelets and then tying it, putting an eyelet on the front and the back, and then putting a sari silk or something like that on there. So I'm going to put this in camera here. There we go. So I'm going to trim this down. So I made a little mark. Cut this. This is really nice paper. It's white on one side, and then it's just the off-white cream color. So you want to make sure you put it in your printer, at least in my printer, with the cream color up, and then it prints on the white color. So you get a really clear picture that way. Okay. So this is what I'm looking at doing. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac, and I'm going to make sure I glue everywhere so that there's no buckling or anything going on with that. So we're going to add the glue all the way around the edges. I like using the Fabri-Tac because it doesn't wrinkle anything. It's also good for this canvas. It's much stronger glue than maybe an art glitter glue or a tacky glue might be. So I like having this type of glue when I'm putting this kind of cover on. So we'll just make sure we have a lot on here covering everything. I'm going to make sure this is glued down as well where the stitching comes together. Okay. So glue this on. Ooh, let's get it the right way. Okay. Center it as best I can, making sure it's even, and then pressing it down really good. This is the first time I'm using this canvas paper. I have seen Barbara on 49 Dragonflies use it. And I really am sold on this. I'll try and link this below if you would like to give that a try. So I'm going to press this down really good, because this is a soft cover, so you want to make sure you're getting it down really well. And I'm not going to stitch around this. I stitched around the outside, so I decided I don't think I want to stitch around this part here, although it might look pretty nice. I don't know. Maybe I will. I think what I'll do is I'll go off camera, I'll do a stitch real quick on this, and then I'll come right back. Okay, I am back. I'm glad I went ahead and stitched around it. I think it really finishes off, makes it really look like it's part of the packaging. So I like that. And when I fold this for a journal, no buckling or anything like that happening. So by gluing it all the way on and then stitching around, I think that makes it for a really good seal, so you don't have any issues with it buckling. So I have already figured out what I want to put on the front, and if you saw my first video I put out, it was a flip through of a vintage clock junk journal that I made for a friend. So I have decided to go ahead and do that a little different. It's not going to be the same because this will be my background. I won't be having a big tag going on this. I want to use this house. But let me just kind of show you my plan. So my plan, again, is with a clock. And I think what I want to do is kind of put it up in this area. We'll just kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. I have already broken a piece of the wood ruler, and then I did emboss it, and I used this that I got. It's EP Opaque Timber, and I got this at a Scrapbook Expo a few years back, and so I really like the look of it, so I went ahead and did that. So my plan is to kind of adjust the clock about like so. And then I did choose one of Tim Holtz paper dolls, which I have already put the crystal, what is that, crystal embossing on it that gives it kind of a dreamy look, or it's just a very cool texture on it when you heat it up. So I did that on the little girl. So, and then the other thing that I went ahead and did ahead of, which I have to do a few more, so I'll do those on camera with you, is I went ahead and did a bunch of gears. I do want to go ahead and use the gears as well. Again, with the same timber embossing powder. So I have done all these gears along with some clock pieces that I do want to put on the inside. So we have a couple of pieces of hardware of Tim Holtz. Most of these gears I just got from Amazon in a large bulk package. And so I've already done these with the embossing powder. But I have a few more that I want to do for the inside of the clock. And then on top of that, I do want to add some embossing powder to the clock face itself. But just so you can kind of get an idea, set this kind of like this. Oops, turn that over. And then she will sit similar to this. Let me move this over. There we go. And then I'll add gears around. So we'll do this together, but this is kind of what I'm looking at doing. And I did cut a piece of, it's more of a gold color, deep gold. I was looking for a more copper color, but I think it's going to work okay. A ring to go around the front of the clock face. And I'm using Sizzix little domes. I think they're an inch and a half. Is it an inch and a half, I think? Let me just double check that. So this is what they look like. They're called shaker dome circles. And oh, this is 2 by 2. So it's 2 inches by 2 inches. So you can get these. I got this on Amazon. So I'm using one of those. So then I cut this ring, and that ring will go over the top of this. When the white piece comes off, it turns clear, so this will go over the clock. But I still have to emboss the clock, and I want to also add the hardware. So the first thing I want to do, let's emboss our clock, and I want to go ahead and stay with Vintage Photo. That's what I've stayed with so far. So I'm going to use the Tim Holtz dauber and add on the embossing solution powder, or solution that the powder goes on. I want to make sure I'm getting all the edges to cover up that white. Okay. And then this is the Vintage Photo embossing glaze that I want to use. So I'm going to put that on. And get my tweezers. It's hard to get these up sometimes. That should be pretty good. So I'll put this on another sheet of paper over here so we can emboss. So I'll put this away, and then I want to also emboss a few pieces of hardware that I've added to the collection. These are smaller pieces, just some small, tiny gears. I didn't have any like specific hardware for the inside of the clock parts, so I'm just going to put this on the Versamark. And then we'll add the timber. And I've realized, you know, just over time of working with stuff and watching the various videos that, especially like Tim Holtz, all the things you can do on metal or even on resin pieces that you can emboss. So I have a lot of resin pieces that may not be colors I'd use anymore, but I could change them just by using an embossing powder. And use whatever you have. A lot of this stuff I've gotten at a Scrapbook Expo, and yeah, so I just trying to use a lot of it because I've had some of it for such a long time and I haven't used it. So trying to do more about using what I have and using things that I don't use all the time. Okay, so I'm going to go on pause so you don't have to listen to this, and I'll go ahead and emboss these, and then I'll show you when I come back. Okay, I have these all embossed. So here's what the clock looks like. I wanted it looking more vintage. So I'll let this cool off, and then I'll go around it also with Vintage Photo Distress Oxide. And then these are the gears. Still a little warm, but not too bad. So they come out really nice. Yeah, they're just a tad warm. Okay, so we've got those done. So next, I'm going to go ahead and go around this with some Distress Oxide, which is Vintage Photo. So let me put a little bit more of this around. Kind of want a darker edge. And then what I think I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to try and emboss this ring. It's not really the copper color I want to kind of go with this, so I'm going to try, and I've never done this before. Let's see. Let's try the Versamark. And let's just try and emboss this. Why not? I don't see why we couldn't. That would give us more of the color that I'm looking for. And then I've just been thinking about a closure. My husband walked in. He said, "Hey, are you going to put straps on that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't really plan for that, but I think it's a great idea." So we are going to make some, have this layout just a little bit different so that I can incorporate straps afterwards, because I don't have them sewn or ready to go. So, but I think it's a great idea. Oh yeah, I like the, oops, wasn't what I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to quickly dry this. Don't mind the noise. I'll just go off camera a little bit. It's actually working very nicely. Just wanted you to kind of see it a little bit. Okay. Came out pretty good. I like that. Color now matches better. So let me put this away. Should have put this away before, but sometimes we don't always do things the way we should. Okay. All right. So let me just show you now what this will look like with the signatures inside. So we still have a nice squishy journal. I love that about these soft covers. And I've got it cut to where it fits perfectly. And also it can continue to grow a little bit because I'm not finished with the inside of the signatures. So I've been working on those for quite a few days now. And so I'm still working on these. I won't show you these until we do the flip through, which will be on part 4. So my plan is to show you how to do the cover, and then I'll do a full flip through on part 4. Let me just trim some of these. Now on the inside of this, I'm also going to put canvas, and I have this canvas not quite ready to go yet, but it will basically be like this. So this will get sewed together as well. And I chose these two, this page, and then also the same for the pages for the spine part. So that's how that will go. So I'm not going to go into the inside of it. You'll see that during the flip through, but let's finish up with the cover. Okay, so now I have all my pieces, and we're going to put together the clock. So I originally was going to put it lower. Now I'm going to raise it up a little higher so that I can still put a strap here and a strap here that'll go all the way around and buckle. And if you saw my first video, you would see what that is like. So during the flip through, I should have that finished, and I should be able to show you that as well. So the first thing I want to do is glue this clock down onto the page where I want it. So I'm thinking right about there. And I'm going to go ahead and use Fabri-Tac again. This is actually Fabri-Fix. Either one, whichever you have. I just think it would go well onto the canvas and stick really well since it is for fabric. So let's go about there. So you glue down the clock first. Make sure that's good and secure. And then add the pieces inside the dome that I want for my clock pieces. So I'm adding those in here. Can lay that right down on top of that. And then I have a couple of hardware pieces that I want to glue on, and I'm going to be using some super glue for that. So I do have a set of hands that I think can go right over. Oh, it's perfect. It's right over the top. That's absolutely perfect. Let me see if I can zoom in just a tad more for you so you could see it just a little close. Okay, so I'm using some super glue, and I'm going to go ahead and glue down 2 little hardware pieces. These are Tim Holtz hardware heads, and I'm just going to randomly put them. No place in particular, but I'm going to use the super glue because I want to make sure that it stays. Ah, don't you just love it when it gets stuck? Let's see. Maybe I have the one that's not open yet. That's what it is. Sorry about that. Okay, so I think this one is an open one. Let's just make sure it's open, because it does get stuck. Okay, so let's put a little bit of super glue here. Oh, don't you hate that when it happens? I'm so sorry. There we go. I think maybe now I can get it out. Okay, 1 dot there and 1 dot there. It doesn't take much, believe me. So that and there, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue down the hands like so, and then those can dry. So with super glue it doesn't take very long. So there we have just a couple pieces of hardware, just something kind of fun and different. Make sure this is good and dry. We'll set in our pieces. We won't move this until we know it's really dry. And then what you want to do is take off this white ring, and there's adhesive on here, and then just set this right over the clock face and push it down and secure it all the way around. Like so. And then we're going to glue this ring on that I've embossed. Still has some embossing to do. It's not quite finished. Sometimes it's hard to see to make sure it's all gotten embossed. Okay, there we go. And then this will get glued on top, and that hides any of that border or the out clear piece of the dome. And all I did was make, I just have a circle dies, and I put one that fit over this, and then I took the next size bigger, and that gave me this round piece to put here. And then it finishes it off just like that. So you see that? Sorry for the glare. Okay, now we can continue on with creating the rest of the front. So I'm going to use this piece of ruler. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And that will go about there. And then I'm going to go ahead and build with all of these gears. So I have several gears here. This. And I want to build it up so that she can sit comfortably. So I'm going to put one right about, I want her to kind of sit next to the clock like this, but I want her to sit kind of flat. So I'm going to add a small one on top. And I am going to use the super glue again because I just feel that it works the best. Put some on there and add this top piece, center it like so. And then I think I want to use the super glue to glue this down as well. So we'll glue this down about right there. And that way she will sit pretty even right there. So let's go ahead and glue her down. And I'll just use the Fabric Fix. And we're just going to put a little bit here and down here. And she will go right about there. Now we can just get creative and add more of these gears. So let's see how we want to do this. So I think it would be nice to have one here. And then maybe down here. And over here. We can add a couple. And then maybe this last one. Kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add some super glue to this. And add this on top. And then let's go ahead and glue these down. So add some of this on here. I never really thought to use much super glue before I started watching Junk Journal Attic. And she's amazing what she does. And I love the fact that she uses everything. So she's gotten me to start thinking about things that I don't use all the time that I can use. So glue this down. Just be careful you don't glue yourself to it. That can happen. And I have this glued down. I think I'm going to add just a tiny bit more underneath there. Yeah. Oops. Wrong cap. Okay. So that is the clock cover finished, at least up to so far. So my plan would be at this stage that I will build 2 straps, and then I think what they'll end up going is probably right around here and then across this gear here, and that's totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. So I'm going to just let this dry completely, and that is going to be the front cover of our journal. I hope you like this, and I'll look forward to seeing you when I do the actual flip through. And I'm going to just continue to be working on the pages. I've done a lot of work in there, but I have a lot more work to do, and I will get this all sewn together, and then you will get to see it on the final in the flip through. So you all have a great day, and I hope to see you next time. So have a wonderful crafty day. Thank you, and thanks for watching, and bye for now.